let's talk about Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo, he was recently on Frank Stevenson podcast, Trials and Tribulations, and he talked about a lot of things, and his report said he may come back out of coaching. He talked about the 2013 team and Jameis Winston, how special he was. He actually even talked about Devontae Freeman not getting an offer. Like he gave him his first offer. Like he was like a zero-star athlete out of Miami. He talked about not leaving, didn't want to leave Florida State, man. And if you get a chance, check that interview out, Trials and Tribulations podcast with Freddie Stevenson. And it made me look at Jimbo a little bit different because when he left Florida State, I hated that motherfucker. That's a strong word. I don't say hate, but I disliked him because I didn't like how he did at university. You had built something that was a brand. Florida State was back. Teams was, you know what I'm saying? And then you
Right.
just up and leave, and now where we at now. But watching that interview made me think about a lot of stuff like, damn, okay, Jimbo, I can understand why you love things like that. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch the interview, but what are your thoughts on Jimbo and about him possibly coming back or whatever else you have about Jimbo? I'm gonna let you take
Um,
off, Greg.
when he left Florida State, I didn't hate Jimbo or whatnot. Um, Now I was critical of certain things, right, that he did while he was there. You know what I'm saying? Like certain, and that had to do with his coaching style or whatnot. I was critical of certain things, but it wasn't much. Um, Even when he left, I liked the Jimbo or whatnot. But at the same time, man, I looked at this right here, man. Like at the end of the day, everybody has their reasons for the moves they make. You know, at the end of the day, a person has to do what's best for them in their situation. Did I
Right.
like it? No, I did not want him to leave. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, it is what it is. Um, I think a lot of the fans wanted him out of there. You had a lot of Florida State fans that wanted him out of there. But when he say that he didn't want to leave, I kind of think he full of it right there. You get what I'm saying? I think he full of it. You know when when
Well,
when 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 Texas
go
A&M
ahead.
offered him that money. Now I think that he would have stayed if Florida State would have upgraded their facilities and things of that nature and paid him more money and things of that nature. But he just got a contract extension, so I think that he was chasing the bag, man. You get what I'm saying? And I can't, if that's what he was doing, I can't blame him for it. At the end of the day, you got to take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? So I cannot be critical of a man with his decision when he's making a decision that's bettering him and his family. You know, but I thought this though. I thought that when they bought him, I said they overpaid for him. And I used to have debates with people about that. I felt like, man, people thought that he was one of the best. I was like, no, he's not one of the best coaches out there. You get what I'm saying? Like, we knew that he wasn't on Nick Saban level. I didn't even have him on
Right.
Dabo Sweeney level. You know what I'm saying? Or Urban Myers or whatnot. But when we look at those like the second and third tier coaches, that's where I had him at. But now, did he deserve the payday that he had? Yes, he did because he got us a national championship. Now you're talking about recruiters. He's among the best recruiters out there. But it showed when he went to Texas A&M, and the recruiting class he had was, what I'm saying, some of the best, some of the top in the nation. But at the same time, he failed with the team. You know what I'm saying? So, when we look at everything, man, you get what I'm saying. I would say Texas A&M pretty much overpaid, and we go back to that word you used, buyer's remorse, because they ended up getting rid of him. You know, but
Yeah.
I will say this now: him coming back wanting to coach, a team going to get him. You get what I'm saying? Jimbo Fisher is a good coach, but he's a better recruiter. A school I would hate to see him go to, right? I would hate now. I feel like this team is probably, they may not have the same season that they had last year. And I mentioned them this numerous times that their coach is on the chopping block. Man, if that was to happen this year and they pick him up, oh man, I would hate it. The U, Miami. I would hate to see him go to the U for this reason why. If we remember the recruits that he recruited, when he was with us, a lot of those recruits came from out of South Florida, and if he can convince a lot of those dudes to stay in Miami, oh man, the U may be back. If Jimbo Fisher was to go to Miami and coach, I think the U will be back. A lot of those dudes, a lot of those recruits that he recruited out of South Florida to come to Tallahassee, Texas A&M, a lot of those dudes will stay home, and I would hate it because we have to see them every year. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that he can bring them back if they was to bring him to Miami.
Yeah, I think Cristobal, you know, brought him some time with last year. You know what I'm saying? But this year he went and got Carson back, and so I mean, I don't think he's on the chopping block right now. Now, if they would have crashed out last year and would have had a bad record, then I think he would be on the chopping block. But I don't think Chris Paul on the chopping block. But you're right though. He can recruit his ass off. Jimbo can recruit. He's a recruiter.
Right.
Maybe he's trying to get back into the game. Maybe Mike Norvell is on the hot seat this year. He can't have a bad season. Maybe he throwing it out there to try to possibly be Florida State coach again. I don't know if they'll split a block on him though. But I mean, if we was to fire Mike Norvell this year and Jimbo was out there readily available coach, I wouldn't mind him kicking. I wouldn't mind getting him. I mean, shit, we seen what he did with Florida State. I wouldn't mind him spinning the block, but
I think we would bring him back for this reason right here. I think that we're pretty much going to be one of those teams that's going to seem desperate. You hear what I'm saying? And now, unless you have a coach out there like James Franklin, one of those guys, that would be different. But I think we're gonna be one of those teams that's desperate. You get what I'm saying? You know how to, you're willing to take your ex back. The dating scene
you
ain't
take
ain't
whatever.
ain't ain't, ain't as prominent as we thought it was. You know what I'm saying? So that would
Right.
be, two. You know what I'm saying? A couple getting back together, both of them to test the waters out there, what they thought it was. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's be honest. It panned out well for us because we had an undefeated season. You know what I'm saying? We got robbed out the playoffs. That's a whole nother story. But it pretty much panned out well for us. But that would be the narrative behind this story. You get what I'm saying? If we was to part ways with Mike Norvell.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but Jimbo, yeah, man, he been in the news lately, and let's just see what happens with him this college football season. I think he might be doing some analysts too this year as well too. I think he might be on one of those college football shows this year as well.
Right.